What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got for you 5 revenge stories, and you need to stay tuned for the last one in this episode as well, as it requires some help, advice, guidance from you watching or listening to this right now. In fact, the title is literally "Help Me Get Revenge on the Man That Ruined My Sister's Life." So we've got no option but to help this Redditor out. Get ready for that. But before that, let's jump into today's first story from NuclearRevenge. Neighbour tried to get my mum fined over our shed, so I got his $40,000 pool filled in. I live with my mum. She's quiet, keeps to herself, never bothers anyone. A few months ago, our new neighbour decided to report her to the city for having an illegal shed in the backyard. It was total BS. The shed's been there for years and has full permits. An inspector came out, checked everything, and left without saying a word. But the neighbour, smug, proud, thought he'd scared us. So I did a little digging. It turns out his brand new pool was way too close to the property line and illegally built over a utility easement. I reported him. I attached photos. I quoted city codes. 2 weeks later, the city ordered him to either move it, impossible, or fill it in. He lost the whole thing, $40,000 down the drain, literally. Now he gets to look at our completely legal shed every day while standing over a pile of dirt where his pool used to be. Mum sleeps great now. If there was ever one story which just epitomized the notion of don't get involved in other people's business when you don't need to, I think it's definitely this one. Why are you bothering? Why are you attempting to make your neighbours scared of you? What sort of weird power play and struggle is this when I can't even see personally what you'd possibly be achieving by doing this? It's just so weird. Do you purposely want your neighbours to hate you? If so, well done. You've made your life significantly more difficult for yourself for absolutely no reason. Oh, and also you've lost a $40,000 pool. Congrats. You are an idiot. If you genuinely thought you would be able to do this and there'd be no repercussions and your neighbours not be like, okay, well, you've done that to me, I might consider doing something back to you, then you're just a clown. Well done to OP and your mum, but this neighbour, what an idiot. Client didn't pay me, so I made his life heck. I once had a new client not pay me. I opened my business 3 months prior and I was struggling. I needed the money, and I agreed to take payment on the Friday as they needed to add me on the system. I had a small B&B and he had a contract in the area. Dinner, bed and breakfast for a bunch of people for 6 days. And then they left in the middle of the night. I tried getting the money from him for 6 months. This was just after my dad passed and I had to take care of my mum. Also 2 months before my wedding. The result was that I couldn't pay a few bills and I had to loan money. It took me years to pay that off because we were struggling. The following 8 years, I would call him on a private number in the middle of the night. I set alarms and I'd call him to wake him, or when I'd wake up to pee, I'd call him until he disconnected his number. I registered his number and email on every spam, scam, and prawn website I could find. I wrote bad reviews using his full name and business all over the internet until I heard it closed down. I commented that he's a thief on every Facebook image he uploaded until he made his profile private. When that happened, I'd message his friends that he stole from me. I messaged every one of them. His business was in another city, and I googled the area and called all his neighbours and told them that he sells drugs out of his shop. I'm pretty sure I've caused him more damage than the money he still owes me. Now my business is established and I make good money, but I'll never forget the dude that kicked me when I was at my lowest point. Wow, there's not much worse than running from an Airbnb in the middle of the night. Like, that is the lowest of the low, especially given that you've been there for 5 nights already. Like, so embarrassing. But yeah, good on you, OP, for really going hard on this dude, and hopefully other people as well. But like, a bunch of people for 6 days and they leave on the 6th night, like, that is shocking. I suppose maybe you take away from this the fact that you got to take payment up front, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of B&Bs that I've been to or that my parents have been to, because they used to stay in B&Bs when they visited me at university. And I think they just had great relationships with the B&B owners, and you know, it's a really nice sort of idea at bed and breakfast. I think you're pretty much staying in someone else's house. It's much more sort of familiar and comforting, I think, than a hotel. I think that's why my parents liked it anyway. But You don't want to say to your clients right away, pay me in full, because you shouldn't have to do that. But maybe that's what you have to do with people you don't know. I don't know. But again, the fact that you've caused him more damage than the money that he still owes you is a good thing, but this shouldn't have happened in the first place. Just disgraceful. Mock me? Fine. I'll waste your time. I've been a fan of revenge stories for a little while now, and finally I have one of my own. It started 2 days ago when I received a call from somebody claiming to be from TELUS, a phone company. They can reduce my monthly bill by 40%, he claimed. This is a scam that's been happening, and I knew it was when he asked me what my monthly bill is. Well, if you work for TELUS, you would know that, I told him. And he said, oh yeah, you're right, and he hung up. About an hour later, same call, different guy. I told him to remove my number from the calling list, and he just goes, na 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 na, in a mocking tone before he hung up. Now, that annoyed me. I was waiting for them to call again, but they didn't for the rest of the day. Yesterday, in the afternoon, my phone rings and it's them. I'm going to waste as much of their time as possible. Same spiel as last time, 40% off my monthly bill. What is it? Well, I told them that my last bill was $2.15. No, that's not right, he said. My bill needs to be at least $20 a month to apply. Okay, well, let me go back to the previous month then. $42. I qualify for a free new iPhone too, if I'm a senior. So I tell him I'm actually very senior. What's my date of birth? August 17th, 1901. He questioned the year, but in more of a do I have this correct way than were you born over 100 years ago way. I don't know how I managed to stay deadpan and not let out a giggle as that red flag went over his head. Let's see what else I can get away with. My email address? Yes, let me spell it for you. MANMEETBALLDEEP. Wow. If you want to work that one out, guys, go ahead. @gmail.com. His accent was thick. The T's and P's sound the same. So I said, man meet bull deep in your butt. That went flying right over his head, and he just comes back with, it says that's not a valid email. Well, your systems are wrong, I say. Then he asked me for my credit card number, so I read him the number off my Pepsi's barcode. Then he asked for my driver's license number. I don't have one. I'm too old to drive. Goodness me, I'm over 100. So he asked for any kind of ID. I offer a student ID from 1955. He tells me to wait. I get put on hold and transfers me to somebody else. The whole process starts again, and the same questions get the same replies. Now, the second guy had 1 or 2 more brain cells than the first, because when I told him my email address and followed it up with the man meet bull deep in your butt, he goes, what did you say? I said, man meet bull deep. After that, he asked. I said, man meet bull deep is my name. He continues, but I knew I almost blew it. He gets my date of birth and asks if I'm really 125 years old. I say no. I'm 123 and I'll be 124 in August. He asks for my driver's license. No, I don't drive, and he won't take a student ID. How about a passport? No to that. He asks for my address, so I give him the address of the closest police station. Okay, now you want my credit card number? I read the barcode to him again. That's not right, he said. A Visa starts with 4, so I tell him the barcode again, starting with a 4. But that's only 13 numbers. I think you're wasting my time, sir. You're goddamn right I am. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Phone scammers and scammers in general are the runts of the earth. They are vermin. So anytime I see any sort of reversal done to them, I'm instantly like, yes, this is great. And this is another one of those examples. The fact that they are so dumb to not understand that you were conning them and just pranking them long before they did is just ridiculous. Like, fair play to you for being the oldest person that's currently alive at 123 years old. Like, that's nuts. I think I actually saw the other day, just a week ago at the time of recording, a woman living not too far away from me in Surrey, Ethel, is 115 and she is now the new oldest person in the world. So, you know, these people didn't realize that you had actually secretly broken the record by 8 years. Yeah. They're just dumb, once again, and they deserve everything. Now for our 4th revenge story. Don't think I can fight back? Watch this. This has been an ongoing dispute since September, when management changed, and I finally got some revenge/justice with the help of the Labour Board. I work alone on the front desk, so I do not get breaks free from work very often, which I'm perfectly okay with. My issue is they don't pay me for that work. In March, I went to go and talk to the financial controller about it. I didn't have the foresight to secretly record, but he ended up saying the law does not apply here when I tried explaining why what they're doing is illegal, and I gave him a printed copy of the employment law. 2 weeks later, I went to go and talk to him again, but this time I was secretly recording him and his responses, which is legal in my province due to one-party consent and conversation in an area with no expectation of privacy. I told him the problem and I showed him the picture I took of my timesheet before turning it in, and I reminded him that I don't care about getting a proper break, just if you aren't going to cover me, pay me. He crashed the F out. Told me they can fire me if they want to because I left property to go and get food while on a covered break and didn't ask permission. He also admitted to modifying my timesheet, which is even more illegal than the wage theft. He also admitted he knew he has to pay me, but, quote, there ain't anything you can do about it, so get the F out. Today, the verdict came from the Labour Board, and I won. The hotel was ordered to pay me 3 times all stolen wages for the inconvenience, plus legal fees. It wasn't only me that got a payout. When they came to investigate, they looked into everyone and everything. So all 8 of my co-workers ended up being awarded their stolen wages 3x as well, and the hotel presumably got a gigantic fine. It just goes to show, even if you're the boss and think you're untouchable, you F with the wrong person and you'll get bit right back 10 times harder. Now I'm gearing up for a wrongful termination suit, or to wish them bad luck and let the door hit them in the butt as they get fired and leave. Oh, once again, like other stories that I've read on this subreddit before, it's such a frustrating story because why not just pay somebody a little bit more money or allow them to have their breaks or whatever it is? Like what it is doesn't matter. Just like the difference between not giving them that extra money or paying them for those breaks and giving them that extra money and paying for the breaks is so minimal in the grand scheme of things. I don't care like what your company is. It doesn't even matter if you just have one employee. If you're like having to pay them just a couple of $1,000s or whatever it is more per year, which is all this would be, or say, yeah, you can take more breaks, like, I don't know, an extra 20-30 minutes a day of breaks. What is that going to change? Whereas if you don't do this and you know you're breaking the law, you are risking everything. Not just the company, but you yourself could go to prison. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Also, in terms of just like morale of this employee and sort of employee loyalty, I suppose, wouldn't you want them to be happy with their working circumstance and be excited to come to work? Not excited, but you know what I mean. Not be dreading the fact that you have to sit at your desk all day and are not paid for any break you take ever and are not allowed to do that. It just makes no sense to me. Surely you'd like rather your employees be in a good mood and maybe, yeah, you got to pay them a little bit more money, but I don't know. Surely that just makes for a better working environment and would cause more success for the company in the future. I think it would anyway. It would also stop yourself getting sued like this. Fair play, OP. And now for our final revenge story of this episode. This is the one where this Redditor needs our help. Help me get revenge on the man that ruined my sister's life. Long story short, about 2 years ago, my sister bought the house of her dreams on her own. And me and my dad renovated it together for her since she was going through surgery at the time. Shortly after, her new boyfriend moves in. Seems like a decent and innocent man, although a bit nervous and insecure. Fast forward to Christmas last year, and he asks her to get engaged, and he wants to help pay the mortgage. There's just the small fact that he needs to be signed as an owner of the house in order to be equally responsible for the mortgage. My sister signs the paperwork because they're going to get engaged and start a family. That's at least what he manipulated her to think. Well, almost immediately after she signs the papers, he does a 180 and turns into a massive idiot. Things get worse and worse, and he's becoming verbally abusive on almost a daily basis. She asks him to move out, and he basically says, no, I own half of the house and half of everything in it, and we're going to sell the house, and I'm going to get half the profit and half of the furniture, and I'm not moving until then. All of this is obviously premeditated by him. He works in banking and real estate, so he knows what he's doing, and he knows that there's a very real possibility he can walk away with 20k from a house that he never paid for, or even changed a frickin' toilet roll in, all while my sister has to give up her dream house. We don't live in the US, and we have lawyers, so no legal advice needed. I just want to quite literally ruin his life. any suggestions? Okay, guys, so this is where you come in. Get your comments in down below. What do you think OP could do? I think OP here has a lot of scope to sort of do whatever. Like, the door's been left very open for us and you guys in the comments to suggest anything, really. I will just read a couple of edits that OP has left, though, to maybe push us down a certain path. First of all, they said, thank you for your help, because obviously people in the comments were thinking of hundreds of ideas. I'm planning my revenge, and I'm going to implement some of your suggestions. The revenge will be calculated, slow, and hopefully life-wrecking, so he won't do this to another person again. I'll reply to each and every comment when I have time. Second edit. My sister has asked me to not do anything considered to be illegal in our country of residence, so I'll reconsider some of the options I have. I agree with that, by the way. I don't think it's worth putting yourself at risk or doing something criminal just because somebody else has done something criminal. I mean, this isn't criminal, I suppose, but morally it's awful. But I don't think it's worth risking your future to enact revenge. There are better ways of doing it. Anyway, there is, however, pee all over his car, OP says. Great. Must have been the neighbour's cats again. Oh, and he's already been offered some help from various religious groups. Bless his soul. And one final edit. Currently working on relocating my sister and all her belongings to a safe place, since he started to claim he can have half of her furniture too. He hasn't bought anything except a TV. So we're planning on emptying the entire house in one day and then cutting the water and power. I'm also writing a lengthy statement to his current employer and every potential employer in the county. That is great to hear, and that is what I'd suggest. You know, I think you have enough information here to really destroy his life. Similar to the second story, really, where the B&B owner made it his mission to destroy that thief's life by, like, you know, spamming the comments of his Facebook page and telling everyone on LinkedIn or whatever it was to never ever use this guy's services. But yeah, get in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Just want to read this one comment because it's very interesting. You should donate small amounts to heinous political campaigns in his name. My daughter ruined her father's political career by doing this. That is really interesting. I want to hear clever things like that from you. I feel like, you know, peeing on his car is one thing. I want clever. I feel like this audience that we've got here, this community, is full of people with IQs of minimum 142. Don't let me down in the comments, guys. I want to hear your very best, your most intelligent thoughts.